So we're going to go to chapter 15, verse 22. Vayasa Moshe es Yisrael miyamsuf. And the children of Israel traveled from Yamsuf, Vayetzu el Midbar Shur. And they went out to the wilderness of Shur. Vayelchu shloshos yamim bamidbar v'lo matzu mayim. They went for 3 days in the wilderness and they did not find water. So Rashi says, what does it mean they traveled? Tisian bal korcham. Moshe caused them to travel against their will. They didn't want to leave the splitting of the sea. She'itru mitzrim as susehem. The Egyptians had adorned their horses b'tachshitei zahav, with jewelry, the kasef, ma'avanim b'tovot, gold, silver, pearls, precious stones. Yisrael mutzion otam bayam, and the Jewish people were finding them at the sea, and they didn't want to leave. They were getting treasures every day. It's like when after I got married, I remembered I would look through my pockets and find, oh, here's a check. Like for a couple months after the wedding, kept finding money. That's what the Jewish people were like. They kept finding money. And they got more spoils from the sea than they got from Egypt. As it states, Toro Zahav Naselach Nekudot HaKesef. Necklaces of gold will make for you with spangles of silver. Moshe had to make them travel against their will because they had a destination. The destination was Sinai. But today's Daf Yomi tells us, now what does it mean they traveled 3 days in the wilderness and they couldn't find water? Remember the Daf Yomi from this morning? It said, actually it's a Daf Yomi for tomorrow, but we did it this morning, and it says that the 3 days represents Torah. They traveled 3 days without Torah, and so therefore from there Moshe made a takana that you can never go 3 days without reading the Torah, and that's why we read the Torah every Monday and Thursday. Beautiful Moshe, beautiful Ilan. Okay, so we're up to chapter 15 of the book of Shemot, verse 23. Chapter 15, verse 23. So they came to the place called Marata, Vayavo Marata. They came to the place called Mara. They couldn't drink the water there because it was bitter. Because they were bitter. Mara. Therefore, they called it Mara. So, with that, you want? Yeah, no, good. Put it back at the English one. All right, Ilan. So they came to Mara. Now, Rashi doesn't go into this, but we said a commentary this afternoon in our parasha discussion. Every day at 12:30, every Monday and Wednesday at 12:30. Really should be every Monday and Thursday at 12:30 because that would be. Well, we do it Monday. I don't know why we do it Monday and Wednesday. That's just what happened. So it said that if you're in a place of bitterness, you can't receive the Torah. When you're bitter, you won't be able to appreciate the sweetness of the Torah. So therefore, they were bitter. They couldn't drink the water, and we know the water is the Torah. When you're bitter, you can't accept. You can't receive anything. What name does it say on your kippah? No name. Okay, fine. All right. Okay, fine, whatever. It doesn't matter. And the people complained to Moses, and they said, Ma nishteh, what will we drink? So again, we're going to skip this, Rashi. It's all grammar. The people were complaining. It didn't take long. They had just been witnessed the single greatest moment in Jewish history. They had just achieved the single greatest sense of unity and praise of God in Jewish history. 3 days was all it took for them to start complaining. How long do you think it would take us to go crazy in America if we went 3 days without water? If we went a few days without water, how many days would it take us to lose it all?
I think one.
You think probably one, right?
Probably let's say a couple hours.
No.
You get the nose of it.
Oh, Saturday. We had water, we just had to boil it. I didn't get that notice till afterwards. So I was brushing my teeth and washing my vegetables with it because it's Shabbos, so we didn't know about it. But the point is that if sometimes there's like a power outage in DC, and you get the sense it hasn't had one in a while, thank God, but you get the sense that if the power outage will last 2 more days, people would start like commandeering vehicles in the streets and martial law would be in effect.
After the New York in 1977.
Yeah, there was the blackout, and people just go.
Dude, the second that stuff happens, you can go online on Twitter or something like that. 1,000 tweets.
Okay, so now, hello, Simon. Good to see you. We're at chapter 15, verse 15. Vayitzako Hashem, and they cried out to God. What did I say? No, that would be verse 25. Vayitzako Hashem, and they cried out to God. Who cried out to God? Who cried out? It says he cried out to God. Very good. He cried out to Hashem. Vayoreu Hashem eitz, and God showed Moses a tree, piece of wood. Vayashlecho amayim, he threw it into the water. Vayimteku amayim, and this sweetened the water. Now, of course, this works with the symbolism of the Talmud, which says that we're talking about Torah here. Torah is a tree of life. The Torah sweetens the bitter waters. Sham Samuel Choku Mishpat. There, in this place, he established for him. God established for the Jewish people Chok, law, Mishpat, justice, Visham Nisahu, and there he tested it. What kind of laws and justice? What kind of law and justice were established there? So Rashi here, very important. Sham Samuel Choku Mishpat, B'mara Natan Lahem Mixat Parshot Shel Torah Sheitatzku Bahem. In this place called Mara, they were given. God gave them a portion of the passages of the Torah that he should get involved with. Shabbos, Paraduma, V'dinin. So they were given in this place the laws of Shabbos, the laws of the red heifer, and the laws of civil punishment, civil laws. Now, why would we pick these three places? Does it seem random? Why were they given? Why does the Midrash say they were given these three laws? Why specifically these three? Well, it seems random, right? So, no. What? Okay, let's hear. The footnote says, because, chok u'mishpat, para aduma, the red heifer is called a chok, and mishpat is civil law. Also, we know that they were given, seems like they were given the civil laws because in the beginning of Yisro is adjudicating them. And so therefore, since the Yisro is going over the justice, that proves that they were that they must have been given it before. And Shabbos is in the coming passage. Here the footnote suggests that the red heifer was put in there accidentally, but rather it's a reference to it's instead of paraduma, it's kibud avaim. The pay is a chaf. But I would never argue with the Torah Tamima was a genius beyond a genius, but it seems to me that paraduma makes sense here because it's a chok. But Torah Tamima was just an incredible genius. Incredible genius. So, Rabbi Baruch Epstein. So, what days did he die? I believe he died in the early first half of the 20th century, but we can just Google exactly the dates he died. Let me just look it up. I think. No, yeah. Let's see. I want to give you the exact dates. He was, I believe, the son of the Aruch HaShulchan, of Michael Levi Epstein. Let's just see. Okay, what did I say? First half of the 20th century. He died 1860 to 1941. Best known, he was the son of Rabbi Yechiel Michael Epstein, rabbi of Nevarduk, author of the Aruch HaShulchan. And biography. He grew up in Nevarduk. His father was the Rav. He moved to Pinsk, lived there until except for 1923 and 1926, where he spent in the U.S. looking for a rabbinic position, but nobody hired him. During this period, okay. He was a bookkeeper by profession. He was a student at the Volozhin Yeshiva under his uncle, the Netziv, who became his brother-in-law after being widowed and remarrying his sister. Whoa.
Did he die because of the Holocaust?
Okay, so he died they say in the Wikipedia that he died of natural causes after being hospitalized in Pinsk when it was under Nazi occupation. So,
Thank you.
excuse me. So I don't know what that means. He was in the hospital that the Nazis were running. So no, he probably died. They would have said if they killed him, but he probably did not have the best medical care in the world at that point. While he was under Nazi, he probably was not getting the best medical care. That would be my speculation, but I don't know more, and so that's that. But he wrote this commentary on the Torah called Torah Tamima, which is probably my favorite Torah commentary after Rashi, after the classics, and he is very brave and courageous in his commentary, but it's I have to look it up here because it doesn't because I don't see what's wrong with the Paraduma. Okay.
Does this Torah Tamima, is it translated into English?
So is the Torah Tamima translated to English? I've never seen a translation. That doesn't mean anything other than I don't. If it was translated, it would have been recent, but I've never seen a translation.
Yeah, wouldn't.
Harold Proctor is doing a podcast of Torah Tamima.
What did you say? Harold Faulkner is doing a podcast of the Torah Tamima?
Yeah.
Okay. That's worthy to listen to, for sure.
Available.
Yeah. Okay, beautiful.
In English.
Yeah, but it's not a translation. Translation is it's a very, 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 very hard skill. Let's just say that. Okay. Let's go on. Misham Niso, and there he tested. Rashi says Niso, he tested the people. Well, Vira'ah Kishi Arpo, and he saw that they were stiff-necked. Shalom Nimuchu b'Moshe b'Lashon Yafeh, that they did not speak to Moses properly. They did not speak to Moses properly. Hold on. They did not speak to Moses properly. Bakesh Aleinu Rachamim, saying they should have said, "Pray for us." Shayalonu Mayim L'Shtot, that we should have water to drink. Elon Islonanu, they complain. If you think this is bad, just wait a little bit. It's going to get a lot worse with the way people speak to Moshe. You think this is bad, just wait. Okay, Vayomer, and then he said, Im Shamo Tishma Kol Hashem Elokecha Vayashar Beinav Ta'aseh Va'azanta L'Mitzvosav V'Shamarta Chol Chulukav Kol HaMachol Asher Samti B'Mitzrayim L'Osim Alecha Ki Ani Hashem Rofecha. So then God said, if you listen to the voice of Hashem your God, and you will do that which is straight in your eyes, in his eyes, and you listen to his commandments, and you guard his laws, then every illness or plague which I placed on Egypt, I won't place upon you, because I'm your healer. As long as you listen to me, we're good. Rashi says, Zu kabalashi kabulam. This is the acceptance they should take. Ta'aseh hi asiyah. Vazanta, you listen. Tatez nayim udakte. Kol chukav. What does it mean, listen to his laws? So Rashi defines a chok as dvarim sheinam el gzeres hamelach, below shum tam. Rashi defines a chok as laws that are decrees of God, which have no explanation. The yetzer hara mikanter olam, the evil inclination tries to say that they have, like the evil inclination tries to tell us not to listen. Ma isur ba'elu, lama nasru, why are these prohibited? What's going on? Rashi gives us examples of things that make no sense. It's why we have to why we can't wear woolen linen, why we can't eat pork, and the ritual of the red heifer. So anybody tries to tell you, well, the reason why Jews don't eat pork is because it's a dirty animal. Rashi says there's no reason. The reason why we don't wear wool and linen, Rashi says there's no reason. Ironically, Maimonides does give reasons for these laws, but Rashi says there's no reason. Rashi says there's no reason. What? Again, you're testing me. Rashi lived from 1040 to 1105. Rambam lived from 1138 to 1205. There's no evidence that they actually ever heard of each other. There's no evidence that they actually ever heard of each other. So there's no evidence. He never cites him. He never cites him. Rambam appears once in the Tosafos. Tosafos is the grandchildren of Rashi, or the great grandchildren. Rambam appears once there, but it's not clear that that's a contemporary citation. It might have been a later interpolation, and maybe it wasn't a reference to Rambam actually. So they really were two entirely separate cultures. You know, when we talk about the medieval Jewish community, the medieval scholarship, the intellectual community, we know that there are four main cultural areas. Do you know what the four main cultural areas are? So there is Northern Europe, which is France and Germany, even though France and Germany can be subdivided into two different Tosafist communities. And we have the Provençal area. The greatest scholars of the Provençal area were like Ravid, who's the most famous. We have the Catalonia, and we have Egypt. We have Maimonides in Egypt. These were four distinct communities. And from Egypt to Northern Europe was about as far the two opposite ends. So they never really sighted each other. Okay, so now it states, Lo asim alecha, any of these plagues I'll not place upon you. Im asim, and if I will bring it upon you, hareu kulo husma, it will be as though it was not brought, because I am Hashem your healer. But Rashi says, Lafi pshuto, the literal explanation is, Ki ani Hashem rofecha, I am your healer, Mohamedcha Torah mitzvos leman tinatzel mehem. And I will teach you Torah and mitzvos so that you will be spared. Meaning to say, what's the best medicine to ever get in this world? No, Torah. That's what Rashi said. There you go. Thank you, Elon. The best medicine is Torah, because laughter is good, but laughter is like a Band-Aid. You can, like, let's say you're feeling down and dark, you can go to a show, and the show will make you laugh for a few minutes, but once it's over, you're right back in your place of distress. But if you have Torah in your life, then your whole life is rich, and then you have a path. And even if you're having a bad day, the Torah, you don't need to go and pay a show. What were you saying, Moshe?
Torah is happiness.
Torah is happiness, but Torah is going to take us to a place in life which is complete. Like this doctor who says to a person, don't eat this unless this will bring you to this illness. And so too it says, Rifus tihi l'sharecha, will be a healing to your navel. Okay. Vayavo Elima, and it came to Elim, Visham Shtei Mesrei Anot Mayim. Okay, interestingly enough, let me just say that this is also, remember when I traveled to Saudi Arabia, a trip that's looking like it was once in a lifetime opportunity. And here it says they came to Elim, and there were 12 springs of water, Veshivim Tamarim, and 70 palm trees, Vayachanu Sham al Hamayim, and they camped there on the water. So this is something that they try to identify geographically, where this place Elim was in modern northern Saudi Arabia. There were 12 springs of water, corresponding to the 12 tribes. V'shivim Tamarim, corresponding Keneged Shivim Zakanim, corresponding to the 70 elders. We're in chapter 16, verse 1.
This line 27 is one of the largest. There were 160,000 people. Men and 3 million of them living in not correct. 12 springs of water and 70 palm trees would sustain that population.
It doesn't say that that was all that they found. It doesn't say that that was completely what was sustaining them. It just said that they came to this place, which was like an oasis.
Yeah.
And there's this beautiful place in the wilderness that they found, but they presumably, there were people living in the desert. There were people living in the desert, and they're still living in the desert. And they had a path, but they knew how to make the water sweet. That was what the text just said. They knew how to make the water potable. They knew how to drop something into the water to make it drinkable. Like we boiled it. And like a spring, like we have one spring here in Silver Spring. There was one spring. Does that mean there can't be 2 million people living in the area? There's only one spring. I'm just saying, back when there was only one spring, they didn't. Yeah. I'm just saying that, but anybody ever say to you, are you from Silver Springs?
Oh, it's just
Brutal.
It's really bad.
Imagine if you lived actually in Washington, D.C., and I say, where are you from? I say, Washington, D.C. You say, you mean Silver Springs? I say, listen, buddy. I say, listen, I pay extra for that D.C. address. That usually stops the conversation. I don't mean to be a jerk about it, but if I had a nickel for every time somebody said that to me, I'd be, I don't know. Anyway, oh, this is for you. Josh, this is for you. The next verse. They traveled from Elim, Vayavo kol adat b'nei Israel midbar Sin. They came, all of Israel came to the wilderness of Sin. Sin is China. No, I mean in modern Hebrew, it's Chinese as Sini, but it's clearly not China here. They didn't get to China. Not then, but maybe later. And I mean, it's surprising that Chinese people don't show up in the Bible because it wasn't that far away. No, you could travel over away.
Expanded it to like later.
There is right. What Josh says is that the Kaifeng Jews trace themselves back to the destruction of the first temple. No, even before, from Shlomo HaMelech, from Solomon, right? They go back to the time of Solomon, so they go back to the time of the Bible.
Who are we talking about?
I'm talking about my friend here, Josh. Josh is a Chinese Jew.
Oh,
And he's from a place called Kaifeng. And Kaifeng are native Chinese who date themselves back to Solomon, and they have they have the Torah, our Torah, and yet they are persecuted by the CCP for being Jewish. So don't kid yourself if you think the Chinese are our friends. They are not.
Well,
You
like Hebrew?
What?
Hebrew Chinese leaders?
No, Josh is our friend. I'm just saying the Communist Party.
Persian.
Yeah.
Torah Hebrew letters, but
Translation.
Wait, how many Chinese characters do you know?
He knows Chinese.
No, but there's like 1 billion of them, like a lot, like
okay,
30,000.
it's my first language.
But I heard that not most Chinese people don't know like all the letters because there's like a lot
That's for American.
I think most Americans don't know any Chinese.
No.
Do you know any Chinese?
All right, let's go on. Elon.
I have a Chinese Nike sweater that says,
Elon.
and I just kind of know what that.
And they traveled from Elim and they came to the congregation of Israel to the Sin wilderness. That's between Elim and Sinai on the 15th day of the second month. Let's say from when they left Egypt. Okay. Rashi says they came on the 15th day. This Paresh Hayom Shachaniyazu. The date of this in him it was explicit with Shebo Bayom Kalta Harara Shotzio Mimitzrayim, because on that day, that's when the biscuits that they brought out of Egypt were finished. V'hutruchu aman, they needed the man. They ate from the leftover. They had 61 meals from the leftover dough that they took out. The man comes down on the 16th day of Iyar. The Yom HaRishon Shabbat was a Sunday, as it states in Tractate Shabbat. Okay, the Tractate, the Gemara there calculates everything. Vayilono, this is the second time they complained. Vayilono called out Bnei Yisrael Moshe v'Aaron b'Midbar, and the whole of Israel complained. Vayilono called out Bnei Yisrael Moshe v'Aaron b'Midbar, and the whole of Israel complained to Moses and Aaron in the wilderness. She says, now they finished their bread. What would you feel if the supermarkets were empty? I mean, in COVID, you had to just wait. You had to just use a little bit rougher toilet paper. Everybody was going nuts. Imagine if we actually ran out of food.
That's why we have bidets, Rabbi.
That's in my house. We're big. We use it. We think it's much more efficient and from the environment perspective, the more economic. I think that's a great invention. The only issue is you can't use them on Shabbos.
Really?
Because they're plugged in.
Not if you. What if you have one that's not like a heated water?
Not because it's motion activated, yeah.
I mean, if you can have a manual one where you have to press on a pedal with it, but
That'll be good. We should make Shabbos bidets.
okay.
We can market for
It's a
that.
big market, right? Yes, Josh.
So Rabbi,
You really want a
1
bidet.
second, Eli, yeah.
so this place actually is not China.
No, it's not China, no.
Actually, in the book of Isaiah, there is a place that the people from the north, from the south, and there's people from like,
It references China in the book of Isaiah.
yeah, is that true?
It's possible, yeah. Isaiah does refer to a lot of different nationalities far away.
Yeah.
But it's hard to know exactly what they're referring to. But it's possible there. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the 5 books of Moses don't really mention it.
Okay, gotcha.
It's possible Isaiah did much later, yeah.
I see. I think that's the only place mentioned about China.
Yeah.
I even don't know that phrase. Like the Isaiah 49 and 12.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, we'll check it
It
out.
was actually fascinating. I mean, this is, you just introduced me to this whole topic, but there's a huge debate about the history of the Jews in
China.
Kefeng and
Yeah.
There's a movie about it.
okay, really?
Yeah.
I even know that.
I find it is. There's 3 of them in the IDF. Well, Josh has been studying here. And the did I cut you off, Ben?
No, well, no, it's okay. It's a big topic.
No, I was going. What was I going to say? I already forgot. I'm sorry, you go on.
No,
Nice.
it's not at all. Just there's a very interesting history. There's Arab traders in the 8th century, 9th century. There's some dispute as to exactly when the
Silk Road.
started. Yeah.
Yeah, the Silk Road.
Yeah.
Actually, we used to have more Jews in China, but because of the war and even some massacre, so we are the only survivor. We are the only survived Jewish community in China. I mean the native. But we also have the Shanghai Jewish community and the Harbin Jewish community during World War II. But we are the only native Chinese Jews. Yeah.
But there is the earliest picture of a Jew wearing a kippah is a Chinese Jew that dates back to like the 7th century. And modern China was built by Jews. Did you ever? There's a book that there's a book that came out maybe around 2 or 3 years ago, which I read. It's about the Sassoons and what's the name of the other family? Very, very prominent family. You remember the name of the family? They built the whole,
Like from Syria or from
yeah, like these just tremendous conglomerates, and they built. They're still like an incredible force. What's the name of that other Jewish family? Look it up. Sassoon, China. Hold on.
Right.
The book.
To be more than China.
What?
What do you mean modern?
China. They built modern, they built China.
But they also really built China. They're like, the Sassoon and the Kaduris. That's the name of the book. That's a book that I recommend that people read. It's called The Rise and Fall of the Sassoons, the Great Gold. Wait, no, what's the name? It's the Sassoons and the Kaduris. And I read this book. It's very powerful.
Yeah, there's a piece in Haaretz, the rival Iraqi Jewish clans who changed the face of China.
Yeah, what's the name of the book?
Hold on a second.
Okay, we'll stop here. But I read the book and it was